What up, nation? Welcome to another edition of the WiseTake KBO Daily Fantasy Sports Wise Stream, CK013, or you can find me on Twitter at CK_013, and I, of course, am from the WiseTake Nation, which you can find on all the social media platforms listed above or directly at WiseTake.com. We are a premium DFS content provider as well as a DFS community designed to help make you a better DFS player. Go check us out at WiseTake.com for more data, tools, content, whatever. In the meantime, if you are new to this channel, welcome. You found the right channel for DFS goodness. Anything we do on this channel is obviously free. We do streams for all sorts of sports. Matter of fact, right after this, we got the PGA stream coming up. And then I think tomorrow, Wednesday, we've got some NASCAR action. We got some NASCAR racing. We're going to have a stream in the evening. So, again, welcome. You came to the right place. Subscribe, hit the notifications bell so you're notified whenever we go live. And for anyone who hasn't, you guys have done a really good job of doing it, and I appreciate every one of you. But if you can hit that like button, I'm going to ask consistently in every video because that's what really helps us and allows us to continue to grow the WiseTake Nation and expand our resources and just continue to make this community the best we could possibly make it, man. We're always looking to improve things. Those of you who have been with us for a long time, you know that I'm always looking to improve. Matter of fact, speaking of improvement, we just added a tool. See if I can show it to you guys real quick. Let me see. Let me just see if I can show it to y'all. We've got this new tool. I should have had it prepped already if I was going to show it, I know, but we'll see if it loads quickly enough. But this is the site, wisetake.com. Hold on a second here. We have a stack rank tool that I built for DraftKings and FanDuel separately. I'll have a post for it when it's ready. But in the meantime, I'm just going to show you real quick what it looks like. I'm going to go to DraftKings. And again, we have this for FanDuel. It's simple. It's just kind of sometimes having things visually helps. And this is something that our members get. You can get a day pass to get access to this, our projections, our cheat sheets, everything else. But basically, we have the teams here based off our projections, the collective lineup. So not the entire team, but that specific lineup. Obviously, we're working with projected lineups for the time being as we wait for the official lineups to kind of come out. But you can get an idea of who projects the highest. You can sort it by rank if that's easier for you to read. So we've got the Dinos and Kiwoom as the number 1 and 2 projected points for teams. As far as cost, the Dinos are currently the most expensive stack. The Tigers are actually the second. Kiwoom's fourth, which is interesting when you compare it to the projected points being second. And then we can actually rank it by point per dollar. And Kiwoom is our highest point per dollar stack of the day with the Dinos second, Giants third. So just something cool to give you some visuals. Now, again, it's using our projections, but it's pulling the players that are in the lineup because the players that are not in the lineup we have projected at 0. So right now we're using projected lineups. I wake up an hour before lock to get the lineups. That's when the lineups come out. And so at 4:30 in the morning, I'm up and I'm punching in the official lineups. I tweet from the WiseTake Twitter at @wise_take when the lineups are official, so that everybody knows the content's final and good to go. Everything updates. This updates with the projections and with the cheat sheets and all that kind of stuff. But I just wanted to show you guys something else. Again, it's nothing like extravagant. It's just kind of something where we had the data, and I thought it would be kind of cool, especially if you're building teams by hand. You can use this to kind of navigate through some of your exposures, or you can use this when you're building teams by hand and just deciding like who's the best value. If I got one team tonight, who is the best value for me to go on? So something cool for those subscribed to the nation, and is what it is. So I thought I'd just show you guys that real quick. I wasn't actually planning on showing you guys that, but I guess I got a little too excited. That happens. Anyway, yeah, we've got an interesting slate today. We're gonna start things off with Hanwha once again. Not the greatest series you would think, but a lot of Giants ended up kind of sneaking up there and putting up some points. Some of their players put up points. Obviously, Doosan and the Dinos did come back. Samsung and Kiwoom didn't quite get there where I wanted them to. I had the lower ownership on them. And again, we had plenty of the Dinos and Doosan. We talked about them being the main stacks. But as far as our secondary stacks at lower ownership, would have been nice if they came through because we would have had more leverage. Doosan was actually really low owned. Well, not it wasn't like 5%, but like Fernandez was like 15%. I don't remember the last time he was 15%. He probably will be today. We'll get into that in a second. But we're going to start things off with Hanwha and a lot of Giants. So we got the projected lineup for Hanwha. We know they sent a bunch of players down. They got some players up. In-Ho Choi is still not in the player pool. That's why you see nothing for him at all. Han-Min Jo, we got no stats for. We do have a projection for this way you're not left with nothing. But In-Ho Choi is not in the pool. We got Minwoo Kim pitching for Hanwha. going up against Kyung In No. So, yeah, this is an interesting matchup. You have two of the weaker offenses. A lot of Giants I would put ahead of Hanwha, obviously. And even looking at that chart real quick, I think, where's Hanwha? 43 as a projected total. Let me see. Is that possible? Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, it's legit. So anyway, Team ISO for Hanwha is 101 with this projected lineup, and of course we're missing some data for a couple players. So to be fair, right? Their team WOBA 296. Again, we're missing a couple players. These are minor leaguers that they're having in their place, so I don't know if we're missing all that much. I don't know if we know that yet. We haven't seen them enough. A lot of Giants aren't that much better, even with their guys. 315 WOBA, 110 ISO. We can look at the starting pitching. Give me a sec here. Let's get a better look at this. So we will look at Minwoo Kim first. So last year, I'm pretty sure he was a pitch out of the bullpen mostly. We can look at his numbers actually. And he had a 4.48 FIP, a 1.6 whip. He was just not good. He was really bad. So far this year, he's been a little bit better because of the strikeouts. His strikeout rate is up to 24%. It was it was under 15% last season. So that's helped him out. But you can see that his ERA, his FIP, all these numbers are still kind of bad. Almost a 5% home run rate, which is, I believe, the highest on the slate. Oh, almost the highest. We got a guy with an 8 because he will not be topped. So the matchup's all right against the Giants. It's just he's really bad. That's kind of a problem. So I wasn't terribly interested. I think we do have some pretty good pitching. It's only like 3 dudes that I think you can consider good, and they're going to be pretty popular. Or at least 2 out of the 3 will be. But so like I'm trying to be open-minded to find some lower own option I can get behind. It's tough, but at least he's got the strikeouts, right? So the FIP is terrible, but he's playing a shitty team. This may be the one matchup where he can actually thrive. So I don't actually hate the idea of Minwoo Kim, who's averaging around almost 15 DraftKings points at this point per game because of the strikeouts. I mean, that's the only explanation as to how he's able to have numbers like that and still put up relative fantasy points. Matter of fact, or no, it was the other way around. Hold on. Minwoo Kim, I mean, the numbers are there. His first start of the season, he was 4K, went for 11 against SK, went for 29 against Kia, struck out 6 over 7 innings, 22, 14, these are DraftKings scores. And then he played SK again, they beat him up, got revenge, and then against Kiwoom, he went for 16. So on this slate, that may be good enough as a cheap option. So again, I don't love him. I'm not totally comfortable with it, but at the same time, beggars can't be choosers, if you will. And I know Jokic is going to be extremely popular. We'll talk about him. I know that Brooks should be somewhat popular. And then Ruzinski, we'll kind of talk about his situation. He's one of the best pitchers on the slate, but he's playing one of the toughest teams. But so people are going to be concentrated there. So if one of these guys can do it and kind of get outside the mold and do well, give us some upside and get different teams, whether it be because you were able to save money and only pay $7K for him, or even on FanDuel, you were able to get by punting. One thing about this league is you don't see a ton of ceiling. It's not like we have Garrett Coles. You know, if a guy goes for 29, that's pretty much the Garrett Cole in this league, you know. But it's not like we're seeing like Scherzers and Cole with 40, 50, you know. You don't see that kind of stuff. But you don't pay that kind of money either. The most expensive pitcher is usually in the, 10s? So yeah, I think Kim is an option. I also think a lot of Giants are on the table, even though they're bad, because the numbers for Kim are not good. The numbers are very bad. And I think I believe the Giants are home. The Giants Park is supposed to be more hitter friendly. These are 2 shitty offenses, but it's supposed to be more hitter friendly. So maybe I don't want to oversell on Minwoo Kim. Just to be clear, there are 3 pitchers that I'm going to have most of my exposure to, and it's Ruzinski, Jokic, and Brooks. And even for cheap guys, there's still there's a cheap guy that I think I would prefer to take a shot on. Again, the only reason I'm talking about him is to point out the strikeout rate. So he's given up a ton of home runs. His FIP sucks, almost 5, but he's got a pretty big strikeout rate, and that's kind of carried him. And he's playing a weaker offense, or at least on paper, a weaker offense. Kyung In No. This guy's not good, but he's got an even weaker offense. Like Hanwha should be worse than the Giants, so he's got an even better matchup. The difference is this guy don't really have any strikeout stuff, right? 13% K rate, 4.8 8, 7 FIP. He's been terrible. So you could make a case to play both of these offenses. And to be honest with you, I think the total was a little higher than I anticipated it being. I'm okay with it. I'm not crazy about really anything in this either side. Like I think that having pieces of this is beneficial, but I don't have like a distinct like take on what I like the most here. You got two shitty pitchers going up against two shitty offenses. One pitcher is shittier than the other. One offense is shittier than the other. That's the situation you're dealing with. And I don't really like betting on shitty players, shitty teams. I just don't have a ton of confidence in that. But I'll have something with something, right? I know I wasn't super informative on that, but that's just kind of where I am. Just kind of hope it doesn't do anything to me and just kind of almost ignore it and hope it goes away. You know, that's what I hoped yesterday. The Giants kind of crept up there, but then the Doosan and everybody else kind of did their thing. But anyway, we'll move on to the next game. Next game. Matt Harvey. Elliot says, cool, Matt Harvey. Yes, sir. What's up, Jeff? What's going on, man? Appreciate you guys piling in. Please hit that like button if you haven't already. Let's see here. We got the Kia Tigers going up against the KT Wiz. Aaron Brooks and Min Kim. So Aaron Brooks, I anticipate to be like the second highest owned pitcher. That's kind of what I think. He's got really solid numbers. We'll get into that in a second. The problem is the opponents, the KT Wiz. They're good. 164 ISO, which in this league isn't bad. 365 WOBA in this league is pretty good as a team. Only striking about 16% of the time. It's not great, right, to target against. But he's one of the better pitchers on the slate. And I think he's your cash game guy. Like, you could on FanDuel where you have one pitcher, you could put Jokic over him. That's fine because of matchup. Jokic has the softer matchup. But on DraftKings where you have to pick two, I think it's Jokic and Brooks. And the reason I say that is because Brooks has just been super consistent, man. He's had his worst game has been an 11. He's gotten double-digit DraftKings points in every single start. And again, that game was not good. He still managed an 11. So that's just pretty solid. You know, it's not like he's crazy, ridiculously expensive where it's hard to fit. There's plenty of pricing inefficiencies all over the place in this game. So I'll say that. As far as KT goes, Min Kim will be pitching for them. This should be fun. Oh, God. Yeah. So let's get into... So these are two pretty good offenses, right? They're both middle... They're pretty good. They're not Doosan. They're not the Dinos, but they're probably the next best thing after Kiwoom. And you can see Kia, 359 WOBA, 151 ISO. I think if we go to... All right, let's take a look at the pitching matchups. So I'll talk about Brooks next. Let's talk about Min Kim for a second here. So Min Kim... Here he is. Min Kim last year... 4.65 FIP, 1.593 WHIP, 13.5% K rate. Just not good. So far this year has been even worse, you could argue. 6.62 FIP, 12.39% K rate. Yeah, home run rate's pretty big. So I like the Kia offense. No surprise there, right? And as far as ownership goes, they'll be owned, but I do think the Dinos will be pretty popular again. I think that the Kiwoom Heroes will be very popular. So even though I think Kia will be popular, I don't think they'll be the main chalk stacks. I think they will be like the next tiers, or like, lower owned, if you will. So I'm definitely cool with getting some exposure to Kia. As far as who, because I don't know, they don't seem like a team that people stack a ton. We don't have a ton of stats on Hyun Kim if he's in, but Preston Tucker obviously is a guy you're going to want. He's got 8 homers already. He's got a 6% home run rate so far this season. Ji-Wan Na, definitely a guy I would include. Hyungwoo Choi is another one of them dudes that you would want as a part of the stack as well. Sang Tae Khan, I don't know if this is real, but he's been pretty solid. I mean, he's already got more home runs this year than he's had last year. I'm sure he's had more bats. And then there's Min Sang Yo, who's been underperforming. So, now granted, you could see 5 homers and his ISO is 170, so it's not like he's that far off from where he was last year, but just in general, it seems like the power has just kind of not been there. So, based off the at-bats he's had this year, so there's definitely some guys to work in there, no doubt. I'm definitely interested in the Kia team. Now we will go back and talk about Brooks a little bit. So we talked about Aaron Brooks' cash game stuff. Look at his numbers: 2.778 FIP, 20.67% K rate, 3.88 strikeout to walk ratio, which is the one of the better numbers on the slate. Yeah, this guy, we'll talk about this guy in a 6. But Jokic has the highest right now at 6 for real. I say for real because this is not for you'll see what I mean. But not really a guy that gives up a ton of home runs. Playing a really tough offense. But I mean, I'm fine with it. I think that I would rather. I think the general public is going to look at. I'd rather play Brooks over Ruzinski because I'd rather target KT than Doosan. Very valid point. But I'll have a decent mix of those 3 main pitchers, and I think Brooks is highly in the equation just simply because the rest of the pitchers fucking suck. They're just not good, right? And like even if these guys get tagged up a little bit, if they can rack up a few strikeouts, it might be the same fucking score as some of these guys that only give up 1 or 2 runs but don't get any strikeouts. So I'd rather take my chances with guys that actually have upside. Does that make sense? So if you want a low owned stack, KT will be extremely low owned, and that'll be some leverage because, like I said, Brooks will be popular. But I'm mostly pitching Brooks, and I'm mostly on the Kia offense as far as this game goes. Not necessarily in general, just as far as this specific game goes. Next up, Doosan, the Doosan Diggities. Doosan Bears going up against the Dingo Babies, the NC Dinos. Raul Alcantara going up against Drew Ruzinski. Pitching mismatch maybe. So one of the most important things to note is the Dinos are home. The reason that's important is because they have the most hitter-friendly park in the game. And Doosan has the most pitcher-friendly, so it is kind of important to keep tabs. I'm very curious to see what the ownership is on Mr. Drew Ruzinski. He has been just awesome. He's been on fire. He's been hot. This is an issue. Doosan, 14% K rate for this projected lineup. They strike out less than anyone else in the league. That's an issue. That's an issue for which we have no tissues. With that said, the Bears were good last year too. They won the championship. Ruzinski saw them. And like, it's not that I'm trying to go off of like solely, just to be clear, for process purposes. I'm not just looking at what he did last year and assuming he can just do that again. But it's the fact that he's done it before shows me, okay, so it's possible. There's a scenario where it could happen. And then comparing what he's done so far this year, how he's looked lately, what was the larger sample size of a season last year? Is he an actual good pitcher? And in this league, he is a good pitcher. In this league, he's a good pitcher. Gotta be clear. No offense to him. But anyway, last year he saw Doosan 4 times, and these were his DraftKings scores: 26.75, 12.15, 24.15, 26.35. So he's done really well except for one game, and in that one game he only gave up 1 earned run. The problem is he only had 1 strikeout, and that's a scenario where we can see ourselves running into. However, that game was in Doosan, and his team lost that game 0-1. So you factor in the win, he's somewhere around 16, and like, are you happy for paying a 10-2 price tag and getting a 16? Not necessarily, but again, it's the raw points. I think at pitching that I'm more into is the raw points. There's so many pricing inefficiencies throughout the hitters that for pitching, I don't really care about the money. I don't really care about how much money I'm spending. To me, it's more, I just want the best pitchers that are going to give me the highest raw points possible. And then whether they're cheap or expensive, I don't give a damn. I just what do I think the raw points are going to be, and then I'll mix and match the rest of the shit, because like I said, we have tons of value everywhere. I mean, on the Dinos, we got a hitter that's 2100 and has 3 fucking homers already. He has a 183 ISO and a 419 WOBA. He Dong Quan, and he's 2100. So there's value you could find lying around. With that said, I do like Drew. In cash games, if you'd rather go Aaron Brooks and Jokic, I totally get it. In FanDuel, I think Jokic is your cash game guy. But in tournaments, I'm gonna grab some, and I'm curious. Like I said it yesterday with Yang. I was like, oh, Yang, maybe he should be like 50%. Normally, he'll probably be like 30 or 40, and he was like 20. I don't think Drew will be that low, because the difference is Yang has struggled this year. Drew has looked really good, especially lately. So I think Drew will be somewhat popular in tournaments, but still probably not as popular as he should be. He's been one of the best in the league. And on this slate, he's been more consistent and better than these guys. You can make an argument for Jokic, who's coming off of a weird game. But Drew's been solid. And if people are going to bail even a little bit, I'll hop on it. Alcantara, I'm totally good with attacking, man. I don't know. I mean, look at Doosan's numbers: 416 team WOBA, 226 team ISO, best in the league. You're not touching it. And Alcantara hasn't been terrible. Looking at Alcantara last year, he was decent, but gives up homers at 2%, which last year was probably a little above the league average. 13.81% K rate, doesn't strike guys out. Now this year they're up 19.87%, but I don't necessarily know if that's legit or if that's more matchup based. He's still giving up home runs. So I'm gonna take my chances with a really good offense that they'll hit him. And for a little history, again, I look at these things. I don't make full decisions off just history, but I was curious on how Alcantara did against them last year, and it was not good. His best game against them last year, he went for 7.5 DraftKings points, right? So he had 3 earned runs, 3 strikeouts, 1 walk, 8 hits in 6 innings. That was his best game out of 3. The next game, 2 strikeouts, 2 walks, 6 earned runs, 9 hits, 5 innings. And then the next game, 3 strikeouts, 6 earned runs, 6 hits, and 5 1/3. And that's pretty huge if they can get to him early, because we know the Doosan bullpen is just bad. I think they're 9th or 10th. I forget if they're dead last or if KT's worse than them, but they're really bad. Really, really bad. And this is a hitter's park. So, again, we're in a situation, again, I know it seems easy, right? Just play Doosan. Just play the Dinos every single day. But that's where we're at. Now, what's interesting, though, is I do expect Doosan's ownership to be very low. If they were somewhat low today, I would think they're going to be extremely low. Yesterday, whatever. I assume they're going to be extremely low today. So I am... not that I'm not going to, if Doosan goes off, I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, yo, I told you so. It's more of that's a scenario that, I could see myself not covering and then getting beat by it and just being like, damn. One of the best offenses in the game just went mad low owned, and I'm wondering why I'm not winning. So I'm not going to go, crazy. I'm going to have way more Dino stacks than I will of Doosan. But as somebody who does multiple teams, it's irresponsible to me. To not recognize that Doosan should be low owned in this spot and want to get some in a variant sport like baseball. You know what I mean? With that said, I am going to actually have a lot of Drew. I'll have more Drew than Doosan stacks. We'll see how that works out. Moving right along. Let me pop in the chat real quick. My bad. I haven't really looked at you guys too much. Anthony Vaughn, what up, man? He says, I'm locked in on Min-Ho Lee. Min-Ho Lee. Which one is that? You locked in on Min-Ho Lee. My man. That's funny. Spoiler alert, he's the only cheap guy that I may actually have some exposure to. And that's only because, number one, he's extremely cheap at 5'8". And number two, his numbers outside of his shitty strikeout rate are acceptable. They're good compared to the guys around him. So, spoiler alert. Holla. Chris Justice says possible rain out, and then I see Jeff, our boy Jeff Date says, I'm not Kevin Roth, but weather types say 30+% chance of rain in the KT and LG ballparks. That could be huge. We haven't had to deal with any weather recently. If we do, I will put it in the article for those subscribed. I'll update the article in the morning and kind of write. I don't put it out because the night before I really can't find a report on it, and not too many people have it. In the morning, I have been putting it in there for those who do wake up. We could be in the Slack and just kind of wait the weather out for anybody who's up if you're real dirty with it. But definitely something to keep an eye on. If there's rain, they've been real bad with rain. If it's gonna rain, they've canceled the games like nothing. The problem is they've waited until around game time to do it. You know what I mean? That's the problem. So we'll have to keep an eye on that situation. Kiwoom is not at home, so all the parks are outside. Also. Austin Clapper, what's up, man? Long time no see, man. Good to see you. Long time member of the WiseTake Nation. Yeah, man, hanging in there, Been keeping busy with the nation, doing a lot of free content. We finally just went back I guess you can consider us reopening to a degree. Pretty good first day. Was excited that you know, a lot of the new people that we've met while doing this KBO stuff, and you know, we talk about trying to take the negative things and get whatever you can positive out of it and spinning things. And one of those things is even for us, by doing a lot of the free content and all that, we were able to reach out and during these odd times where like maybe somebody wouldn't have found us if we weren't covering KBO because they were so much into you know, something else. You know what I mean? It's like if you had a baseball guy, so you didn't bother looking at us for baseball, but we were doing KBO and not a lot of people were, so that's how you found us. And hey, next thing you know, it's the link. We made our community stronger by having these people join it, and we've made our product better by getting feedback. So it all goes hands in hand, man. You know, half full, glass half full, lemonades, all that shit. But yeah, awesome, man. Hopefully everything's good with you too, man. I know it's definitely crazy times, and I tell you what, bro. If I had $1, if I had 10 cents for every time I heard somebody say that, heard somebody say crazy times, just the words crazy times. If I had 10 cents, I could probably max out the 10-cent contest 4 or 5 times, right? I wouldn't be greedy. If I said $1, you know, I guess that would be more value. That would have been smarter. Anyway, I'm done, bro. Tori Coleman says, any thoughts on H. Kim leadoff for Kia? It's tough, man. We don't really have a ton of stats on him. I mean, he's cheap, so I would consider that, but I don't think we have a ton of stats on him, right? So is that what we saw for Kia when we looked up? I'll double check before we move on real quick because I don't want to leave you hanging. Where's Kia? You said leadoff hitter for Kia. Yeah. Okay, home run Kim. Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with it because he's leading off. He's not that cheap, so maybe DraftKings knows something. I mean, we've got a not so aggressive a projection. I may make a change. We'll see. All right, I gotta get on with this because we still got a couple games left, and there's a golf show in 30 minutes, guys. There's a PGA show in 30 minutes with Brew Medic and our boy Shockey, and we got NASCAR tomorrow, son. Shit, great time to be a part of the WiseTake Nation. Subscribe to the YouTube channel and follow if you're watching on Twitch. No disrespect, man. We appreciate you guys too. SK and the LG twins. We're gonna talk about our boy anyway. So we got Tainhoon and Kim for SK. We've got Minho Lee. Shit looks like straight Swiss cheese. The SK team, huh? Wow, you want to talk about some shitty projections? Look at SK's projections. Just god awful. God awful. Let me just check one thing real quick. I gotta see something. Make sure that wasn't me. Okay, no. That's a mistake on my part. So I'm actually gonna fix that right now while I'm with you guys. That's what I thought. I thought there was an issue there. Hold up. I'm looking at the projections and I'm like, yo, why they're like non-existent right now? So I'm gonna check it. And as you know, a lot of the tools at WiseTake.com, as I update them, they update automatically on their page. If you notice, we have the page that you can go to at any time. If you're impatient and you don't want to wait for it to be done, you just want to look, at least get a midday report or at least a preliminary thing. But until you actually see the post made, until the projections or cheat sheet or whatever it is comes out in post form, they are not technically final yet. When they come in post form, they're final at least. Okay, we're not changing nothing until we get lineups, basically. You know. In NBA, there's no such thing as final, but at least you know, okay, this is what we wanted. Now let's change from here. And NBA is coming back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very, very excited about that. We'll see what that means for KBO and all this. If they continue to do content, we'll continue to do content. Obviously, NBA streams would take priority. But as far as the projections and all that kind of shit, I would continue to do what I have to do. Even if that means continuing to wake up at 4:30 in the motherfucking morning. If DraftKings has the contest and FanDuel have the contest for us to continue to play and potentially win money. Because I can't hold you guys back. Got to provide those options. All right, bear with me, guys. Pitch and knife. Pitch and knife. All right. So, yeah, this got to change here. Holla. There we go. All right. Where the fuck were we? All right, here we go. Now if we look at SK, they should have normal projections. There we go. Normal projections now for these guys. Normal projections. And here it comes. The next update should be a better one, I think. Either way, I mean, they're not that great of a team, so it's not like I'm fighting for much here, right? They've really struggled. LG's offense, one of the better ones out there also. 163 ISO, 351 WOBA. Only a 16% K rate as a team. SK's been bad. 102 ISO, 331 WOBA. And that's with Jamie Romack, who hit 29 homers last year, and Jiang Choi, who hit 29 homers last year. Both guys aren't doing as well. Romack a little bit better. Jiang Choi has really been slumping, man. Look, he got hot for a little bit, and he was going to come, and he just never really came. So SK, they'll be very low owned. They have a lot of value here. They're another team like early on that sent a bunch of players down and called a bunch of players up, and those players they called up just haven't been very good. They're just not that good. They don't strike out as much as we like, but they strike out enough, almost 18% for us to take a shot on, and that's why some of you guys in the chat were talking about Min-Ho Lee, and I agreed, because again, this isn't like I love Min-Ho Lee. This is more of just like, if I had to take a cheap guy, it's probably him. Because he's got a soft matchup, and his numbers are at least like not the ugliest thing you've seen in the world. If you look at it, and it sucks too, because this is a really small sample, so we really shouldn't be judging him on a sample like this. Let me see how many games he's actually had. Min-Ho Lee. He's had 4 appearances. His first appearance was against Doosan. He had a relief appearance. Then he pitched 3 innings against Doosan the next day in a relief appearance. Then he had his first start against Samsung. Only 2 strikeouts, 4 walks, 1 hit, 5 1/3. Went for 17 DraftKings points, which you would take with a smile, even at 5'8". His last start was also against Samsung, so he just seems to like to see guys multiple times. And that was on extended rest. 5/21, didn't pitch again until 6/2. So we have no way of really, we have really nothing. 7 strikeouts that time against Samsung. Holla. All we have is that he's very cheap. He's backed by a pretty good offense. And he's going up against a shitty team in a park that's fairly pitcher friendly. Now we'll have to check the weather, which again, when I get a weather report, I'll put it in the article. Usually I do it in the morning because that's just, I can't find it until then. When somebody's willing to actually write the report. Kevin Roth is normally the dude I look to, but I do whatever I can to find whatever I can for you guys and myself. But he's cheap, and so if I was going to punt with a pitcher, he's the one that I think makes the most sense. At least his numbers are like, don't scream I'm terrible. Look at the company he's around. They're all fucking terrible, including Taehoon Kim, who we might as well talk about now. He was out of the bullpen last year, became a starter. He's had 1 good game. Ironically, it came against the Dinos, who got their revenge on him the last time he pitched. And a 4.87 FIP, a 14% K rate, 1 point. He's just not very good. So I think LG is in play. I don't love the park. I don't mind attacking Kim at all. I definitely don't want to pitch him. I just think we have other guys that are just like, there's a lot of guys on this slate to attack, man. It's like, we got a few of them. You know what I mean? With some good offenses too. So I'm fine with LG though. They could break slates. They've done it several times. And I'm talking about how I'm not really a ton on them, and so I don't think a ton of people will. I think they will slide with some low ownership, especially if we get some bad weather there. So we'll see. But yeah, I'm with you guys, man. Min-Ho Lee kind of makes the most sense. As uncomfortable as that may be. As far as the cheap guys, I'm not saying I like him more than the other dudes up top, but of the cheap players, I'm with it. Don't forget to hit the like button, guys. Appreciate y'all. Getting a couple of you guys following the WiseTake Twitter, I think, as my phone keeps buzzing. That's what that is, notifications. It's not my Twitter because I don't have it on the screen. I got to put my Twitter on the screen because then some of you, when I hit people up on Twitter, like, oh shit, I always know the WiseTake. And that's fine. It's all good. Follow the WiseTake when it's all good. But it's easier for me when people have a question for me. I'm only on the WiseTake Twitter when I have to make updates to the nation. So like if people ask questions, sometimes I don't see it. And when I see it, I try to respond from mine so that when they respond back, I can get it quicker because it comes on mine, which is at CK_013. If anybody wants to do that. With that said, let's go to the next game. I know that was lame, right? I felt like I was just begging for like Twitter followers, and that's not even what the deal was. Like it was just trying to be informative and trying to explain how I can be reached easier for people that do hit me up occasionally or do look for me occasionally on Twitter to say something. And it came off really weird. That was uncomfortable for me. It is what it is, though. I'm a man of the nation, and I am with the nation. Therefore, I really don't give a fuck. All right. Kiwoom Heroes last game going up against the Samsung Lions. So we know, thanks to you guys, really, a couple of you guys pointed it out in the last stream in the chat that Samsung's been a really good hitting park, and that was absolutely true. It was one of the reasons we decided to go a little heavier on Kiwoom and Samsung, even though it was kind of disappointing. Did I forget to update picture? Yep, hold up. I'll do one thing. Shit. I can't believe it. There it is. Bang. Alright. That'll update in just a second there. And boom. Eric Jokic, the Joker of the KBO. So we got Kiwoom going against Samsung. This should be a mismatch, and Vegas seems to believe so. Kiwoom is currently 271 favorites. This total isn't massive, yet Kiwoom's total is 6.5 is tied for the highest on the slate for implied runs. Samsung is at 3.5, so they just expect this to be lopsided, and I can buy into that narrative. I expect Jokic to be extremely popular. Samsung is one of the weaker offenses in the game. And this projected lineup, if this is what they give, and this is the projected lineup against a left-handed pitcher, and Jokic is, they do seem to strike out more with this lineup, which would favor him. Jokic could not strike a guy out to save his life against Hanwha, which is why he was disappointing. But yeah, I think that he'll be really popular. I think in cash games, it's pretty easy. Just roll him out there. He's got the easiest matchup of the studs, if you want to call them that. And his numbers are really solid. We'll look at Jokic real quick before I get into a rant about Kiwoom. So, Jokic last year, let's look at him. 3.02 FIP, 1.131 whip, 18.9% K rate, 1.21% home run percentage. Pretty solid. So far this year, even better. 1.85 FIP, 21.43% strikeout rate, 6 strikeout to walk ratio. He's just not walking dudes, not wasting time, not wasting pitches. Now, obviously, everybody's prone to a blow up, and this is a pretty good hitting park. But I got to think Jokic has a pretty decent floor in this particular matchup. So I do like him. He'll be the most popular pitcher, I believe, by far. But rightfully so, he's in a good spot. So do what you will with him. He's in a phenomenal spot. He's got great numbers. He has a great matchup. Doesn't have that great of a park, but he's a great matchup. But he's going to be extremely popular. So you got to make that decision. Then for Samsung, we got Young Hyun Baek, which I think some people say pronounces Park. And this is where the fun begins. Kiwoom is expected to be, coming into the season, they were expected to be one of the top offenses in the game. We've seen some games where they've kind of delivered on that. For the most part, I think we haven't really seen what they can really do. Some guys we have, Dongwon Park, the catcher, has done well. You can see he's got 7 homers already, 309 ISO currently. He's been phenomenal. Byung-ho Park, he hasn't been terrible, but he's been lagging. His strikeout rate's up almost 11%. His home run percentage is down almost 2%. His ISO is down almost 100 points. His WOB is down. So, maybe he doesn't have as good of a season as he had. Because last year in the KBO, from what I understand, these numbers he had last year were just fucking outrageous. 416 WOB with 280 ISO, 33 homers. So maybe he's not as good as he was last year. Otherwise, we expect him to kind of start to show us something soon. Or at some point. So I'm good with him. Ha-Seong Kim is a stolen base guy and a power guy. 19 dingers last year and 33 homers. He's a beast. He's a stud. He's 6'2", but he's a stud. I like the guy. Holla. Now let's get into, again, we talked about this being a hitter's park. Samsung's bullpen hasn't been terrible. We talked about this being a hitter's park. Now let's get into why I like Kiwoom so much. Let's take a look at our boy, Young Hyun Baek. So last year, he was not very good. 4.65 FIP, 12% K rate, 2.5% home run percentage. So far this year, he's been even fucking worse. He's got a 7.39 FIP. He's got a 2.140 whip, a 16% K rate. Now, he's got a 6 strikeout to walk ratio, a 6. You know what that means for a guy with a 16% K rate? That means he just throws strikes. And that's probably why he's getting tagged up, because the man just throws fucking strikes. Too many fucking strikes. And how do you not walk people and still have a whip that high? You're fucking terrible. That's how. And an 8% K rate. So I know I'm speaking really meanly about this person that I don't know. And I feel terrible. I'm just trying to make a point across to the nation. It is nothing personal against this dude. I do not know him. But I do know that right now, this year, his numbers are some of the worst I've seen. Now, again, am I overreacting with a small sample? You better believe it. But what the fuck else do we got? You know what I'm saying? We don't have hard contact metrics. You know, we don't have fucking exit velocity data, launch angles. We don't have that shit with KBO. We work with what we got. So let's look at what he's done. So now listen, here's Troll City right here. So against the Dinos, he had 5 strikeouts against the Dinos in 6 innings. But he gave up 4 earned runs, even so. Against Kia, in 4 innings, 4 strikeouts, 4 earned runs. And then against LG, at LG, 3 strikeouts, 8 earned runs, 6, 8, and 14 hits. So he's gotten progressively worse with every start. And now he's playing Kiwoom in a hitter-friendly ballpark. So yeah, I like them. And I think they'll be popular. I think the Dinos and Kiwoom will be the 2 most popular stacks. That's what I think. You feel me? That's where we're at. That's pretty much going to do it, nation. I know I didn't get an opportunity. I didn't get an opportunity to hang out in the chat as much as I usually do, and I would like to, but I do have to prep. I'm not on the PGA show, but I got to produce it. And I got to post this content up there so those subscribe to WiseTake.com can take advantage and be able to check it out. So I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to post the cheat sheets and the projections now. I think they're pretty much good to go. I may make a couple adjustments, but they're pretty much good to go. My article will be out shortly. I'm almost done with it. I'll probably put that out when the golf guys are out there doing their thing. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. I think we've got the PGA content. So the show is going to be today. The actual content that I have planned, the cheat sheets and the projections, won't come out until probably Thursday. Try to keep it fresh. Tomorrow we have NASCAR as well, Wednesday night going. We will have a show. Shake and Bake's already helped me with the projections and the cheat sheets, so those things are pretty much ready to rock. I'll be posting those things probably tomorrow morning just to make sure I get some time at the top of the site after everybody sweats their KBO and all that shit. So we got a lot of content going on, man. If you subscribe to the channel, you'll catch all the free shit. If you want a little more help, you can check us out at WiseTake.com. Please hit the like button. Appreciate you guys. For myself, the entire WiseTake Nation, as always, good luck.
Yeah.